Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Models Workshop After Hours, the podcast that will offend you, make you laugh, offend you again, make you laugh again, probably will piss you off a little bit, but you're going to come back anyways because you love us. And yes, it's, I know we've said it 14,000 times, but we actually have a set in stone schedule that we're going to be recording on. It's every 2 weeks, just like it was. And I've even talked to the UK crew, and they've said that they're going to try to come back a little bit, but not as regular as we are. But we are back. Today we have Yeji and Krys in the room. Say hi, guys.
We're back.
Hello.
So everything is now set up again. I'm in the process personally of redoing the website. And if you actually go to the website, or if you even know we have a website, that's www.models-workshop.com. You'll notice that I'm revamping a lot of stuff. First things first, I'm removing all the podcasts out of the mainstream. That's only going to be for articles and things of that nature. Probably going to actually put a blog section, which is going to be its own little subpage, like modelsworkshop.com/blogs, where anybody's interested, they can write blogs about what's going on, maybe projects that they're doing, stuff that they've noticed, just general, not serious, not edited type stuff, just basically like a hobby diary. Other people have done it. I think that would be a nice place. I know I would have a fun time going through and writing just random stuff where I don't have to worry about being, Johnny on the spot and all of that. I've also, we're redoing it. We are looking into a brand new logo that will actually line itself up with merchandise. So for the people who have messaged me over the last few years about wanting Models Workshop merchandise, that will be on its way. We've got several different logos that we're working on, some that'll work real good on hats and maybe a pocket tee, others that'll look good on a graphic tee going across. So I've come to the realization that as much as Models Workshop is supposed to be a hobby and some way of enticing me to do my hobbies more, I need to treat it more like a job. And I don't mean the job that you hate. I mean the job where you get to hang out with your friends and chit chat and, bullshit and all that stuff. But still, I have to treat it like a job. I have to dedicate time to it every week and make sure that I actually put that time into it every week. Right now, I'm starting slow. I am working on the website and Models Workshop as in itself for 5 hours a week. That's my minimum. Now, last week I did like 20 hours because I was in the process of working on like 6 or 7 different articles. But I started talking to the old crew and some of the new folks like Yeji. I started talking to her about touching up some of her articles, a couple articles that I think that she could do and would be really good. I talked to Krys about working in tandem with an article from a newer painter's perspective to a veteran painter's perspective. And I've talked to Chloe about touching on a couple of her articles that she wrote like 4 years ago. Actually, no, I think it was 6 years ago. It was a long ass time ago, but she's going to redo it because a lot has changed in her life. She's now married. She's in a house and not an apartment. So we're going to revisit that. So we have a lot of stuff actually in the works. Some of it's going to be like, honestly, Barney style easy. Like, what are flush cutters? Because a lot of the people that are listening to this, they know, what flush cutters are. And a lot of people who listen to this know what a paintbrush is, but you might not know about the details. And that's what these articles are. Like, I'm writing an article right now on hobby knives. Have I learned a lot about hobby knives while doing this? No, not really. But I started with hobby knives. I didn't have flush cutters until 10 years ago. About 10 years ago. No, 20 years ago. 2001, not 2001. Like 20 years ago. And I've been in the hobby for a lot longer than that. And so I started on hobby knives, so I knew that type of stuff. But I'm sure there's people out there who don't know that you can get saw blades for your hobby knife. And you can get like really super fine saw blades to use with your hobby knives. You can also get larger saw blades to use in a miter box with your hobby knife. And that's what these articles are for. It's more for towards the beginner, maybe intermediate person who might not know all the details. They might look at a hobby knife and see, oh, it's a number 11 blade, or they'll think, oh, it's the normal, it's the standard X-Acto blade, because the number 11 is the standard blade. But they might not know about all the other ones and some of the uses that can get out of it. So I'm going down, and I'm doing 5 to begin with, and it's the 5 pieces that every person should buy first thing right off the spot. That's paint, a brush, flush cutters, a hobby knife, and super glue. And those are the 5 basics, I think, that when you first get into hobby craft, you need to buy. Point blank. And then I'm going to do articles that adds to that kit. Like, hey, you should go and buy a cutting mat, a self-healing cutting mat next, because that makes sense. Or you should go out and buy brush soap, because that makes sense. Or you should go out and buy this, and slowly expand on it until I have everything that I personally carry in my kit, which is hundreds of items. If you account for every little small thing, it's hundreds of items that I have in my painting kit, if not thousands, to be truthful, because this shit just kind of grows and multiplies. Isn't that right, Yeji? Mm-hmm. I have a 2-story building that my hobby studio and workshop is in, so yeah.
I mean, my supplies haven't grown in a while, but my models, yeah, about that.
Is your drawer of shame becoming more of a closet of shame?
No, dude, it's become a whole row in a calyx of shame, like a whole column on a 5x5 calyx.
That's like a phalanx of shame at that point.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think I
mean, okay, let's stop calling it of shame anymore, okay, guys?
The Gray Army, the Great Unpainted One.
I mean, like, and I know everyone's been going on a kick of like, let's stop calling this, let's stop shaming. And I agree, but let's stop shaming it. It's just
so we can't
unproduced creativity.
So we can't body shame anymore. We can't unpaint shame anymore. Damn.
Nope.
Oh, so things are going in the right direction. I think a lot of us are really looking forward to it's going to take a little while to get back in the pattern of things, and we'll get other people to come in. I'll contact Jim again, Yeji. We've worked out a schedule that works with her, and now I've got 3 kids who are currently working, so I honestly had a really tough time trying to figure out a time that we could do this where I'm not having to worry about going and picking one of their goofy asses up. So, yeah, so we're recording. So, man, Yeji, what have you been up to?
Dude, so much has changed. So much.
Well, you bought a house recently.
Yeah, what?
Well, I mean, I say recently.
When did we stop?
Oh God, it's been a while. It really has been a while. Just assume that they don't even know who the fuck we are anymore. I think that's people are like, Larry, Yeji, who the hell are them? Who are those people?
Oh man. But seriously, so much has changed in the last year.
Yeah, well, last year's been crazy for you. I mean, it's been crazy for everybody, obviously, but yeah, because I bought a new house, and then shortly thereafter, you guys ended up buying a new house. And
so back in August we bought a house. Took about a month to get it ready for us to move in.
Which isn't bad. That's actually not a bad time frame.
Yeah, mainly it was actually like getting furniture because IKEA was sold out of freaking everything.
That's nationwide. That's nationwide.
Because everyone's doing, the work from home and all that stuff. So because of that, like IKEA was out of everything.
Well, there's also a wood shortage too.
Yeah, wood's crazy right now.
Yeah, I was trying to finish my downstairs workshop. Fucking plywood is like $25-$30 a sheet. Sheet. Yeah, it's ridiculous. A 2x4 that would have cost me like $2.50 last year is $7, almost $8.
Friend of mine who hangs drywall told me they have to add like $30,000 to build a house now for wood, just for the wood.
Yeah, wood is ridiculous. It just spiked. So you bought a house.
We bought a house. Xavier started living with us since January.
I forgot about that.
What else?
What about Mika?
Had like all of us, everyone in this household has had, because we have a roommate, so all of us in this household have had health issues up the wazoo.
I know how that goes,
which is part of the reason why I've been kind of non-existent since November, and then was back on and off, and then just kind of non-existent until just about like a week or two ago, and because my shoulder has been kind of frozen up, so I haven't been able to paint really.
Yeah, that actually November was the time that it went absolutely apeshit at our house too. So in November for us, like none of us saw each other for almost a month because my youngest son had close contact, close proximity, and right at the end of his quarantine, the state health department asked us to go get him tested just to add a data point because he was a close contact. We're like, yeah, cool, whatever. So we go get him tested, and he turned out he came up positive. He had COVID, and we're like, shit. And I started feeling really, really bad about the exact same time. And I was like, shit, am I turning into a hypochondriac? Am I manifesting symptoms because, I honestly thought maybe it's it's in your head. No, I ended up having flu type A, like a pretty significant case of flu A. And so I was sleeping in my studio. And my son was quarantined in his room. Kara was sleeping in the living room away from everyone else. My oldest was quarantined downstairs, and my daughter basically, we didn't see each other for like the entire month of November. When we finally were when everybody finally tested clear was just in time for us to have Thanksgiving dinner. And yeah, November fucking sucked for all of us. We didn't see anybody, and because I had something completely different from everybody else, and I couldn't risk getting COVID because then I'm out of work. We actually, I got the phone call that he was positive while I was in Vermont, and I'm like, shit. So we had to call all of our stops because at that point I was considered close contact because I'd been with him for over 15 minutes, less than 6 feet apart. Well, so everybody had to go launch their COVID protocols at all the different plants. Like we were leaving the paperwork in the back of the truck, so the factories could do it. They were my boss was doing my paperwork and faxing it to them. It was kind of nuts. So that's whenever I went and got tested, and I was like, all right, cool. And then they're like, hey, you got flu A. Well, the one cool thing is I can still work with flu. I cannot work with COVID. So
yeah, we had a COVID scare too, because one of my friends that because we kept our circle really small, but her boyfriend got it from his work, and then so she got it, and then she was like, I'm sorry. So like no, the first scare was her. So the first scare was actually her boyfriend's roommate getting it. And then so I had to go get tested, and I was feeling like crap that week too. So I was doing the same thing, going, do I have COVID? Am I hypochondriac? Like, what is going on? Like, I feel like shit. I'm having fevers. Fuck. And then I didn't see her for a while because she was doing online school and stuff like that. And then her boyfriend caught it from work, and she caught it, but she hadn't come over, so I didn't get a scare then. But like she felt so bad.
Yeah, don't you love the brain tickle?
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. If you were lucky enough not to go get tested,
Clint is happy that he actually has not gotten his nose swabbed like for this whole time.
How?
So he's like,
in his job, how?
Because they check his temperature and everything right before they go in. And then, because he went, so he was laid off for 3 months. And then, or furloughed, whatever that's called. And then he went back to work, but it was mostly work from home. And then he had to go in once the restrictions started lifting up, once a week. Otherwise, he would have to go get tested. So he went once a week. And when I had my scare, it was if I came back positive, then he would come back positive. or then he had to go get tested. So like I came back negative, so everyone was just like, we're fine, we're good.
Yeah, that's how my work was, is if Andrew would have come back negative, then everything would have been fine. But I actually did start having a minor fever. I mean, it was a flu. So I had all the typical flu symptoms that you usually get. So I had a fever, I had all that stuff. So it really sucked because I hadn't turned on the heater in my studio. So when I came up here to lay down, it was like 2 freaking degrees. I about froze my ass off.
Whoops.
Right? Oh, man. So, Krys. Okay, so for all the longtime listeners out there, let me introduce Krys. His name is Mino, otherwise known as Fire Minotaur. He and I met each other. I've actually known Krys longer than I've known Yeji. He's one of the few people that I've known longer than I've known Yeji. No, I've not met him either, because that's just how I roll. But he and I used to play a game called City of Heroes, City of Villains together way back in the day. And that's where we met. It was me, him, and Black Calf. And so we were buddies. It wasn't a terribly long time now that I'm thinking about it, because he and I met in early 2005. Yeji and I met in like 2006, 2007.
I'm more special.
But he and I used to play MMOs together all the time.
You sound it, so, it's okay.
He and I used to play MMOs together. So if you go back all the way back to our first episode, Mr. Pinky McPinky Fuck, the item that I was painting was for Krys, and he has recently gotten into miniature painting himself, and he is doing Gunpla, he's building a 40k army and all of that jazz. And since I've known him forever and a day and we don't have a resident newbie anymore, I was like, you know what, fuck this, let me go ahead and get Mr. Pinky McPinky Fuck on here for some newbie goodness, so he can ask the simple questions that everyone needs to know an answer to. So, Krys, introduce yourself.
I'm Krys. Let's see here. I think I've been painting for, would you say, since December, Larry?
Was it December?
Yeah, that's when I think I started gathering everything around December time.
Yeah, I think you started gathering stuff in December. I don't think you really started painting until like January, February, though.
Yeah, I think I started gathering everything around December. And yeah, and I've already started my Gray Army also. I think I'm 4 boxes into my Gray Army.
Yeah, but you've actually applied color to your Gray Army, which is...
No.
You've a couple of them.
I got Gray Armies. Then I got a bag of random D&D figurines from Pinky McPickfuck. That came with that package. I got those guys.
Yeah, the studio that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They fucking... So that was a crazy story. Those miniatures that you got came from Mink Studio. And the reason I remember this is I was updating the website and we did a kick-ass Kickstarter on them like many, many moons ago. That gentleman, I don't even remember his name. He had his studio and everything, but he ended up saying something online on Facebook that I've never seen a person piss off the entire community as quickly as he did. Like, holy shit. He pissed everybody off. And I'm just like, okay. That was it was uniformly. And then he just ghosted. I mean, it wasn't like, I think he could have made his way back. I don't think he pissed people off that bad. But there for a minute, he like pissed everybody off. But like I said, I don't think it was bad enough that he would have, if... He was one of those, from what I recall, he's like one of those opinionated guys that has to share his opinion on stuff. And the way he shared it was really bad and cringy. And so I remember, I think Mr. Justin was one of the people that was really upset with him and all of that stuff. But yeah, it was crazy. Like, he just ghosted. He just disappeared off the face of the earth. And I was like, I didn't think what you said was that bad. And in all honesty, there have been people that have said and done, and companies that have said and done a lot worse and are still around. I've come to learn that just because you pissed off the very vocal minority on Facebook, honestly, in the long run, sadly, in some cases, really don't mean shit. Because there are some very successful companies out there that I kind of look at and have done some really, really, really cringe stuff. And I kind of wonder, like, how the hell are you still in business? But they are. They are. Yeah, so that guy that made your models, he's out of business. He just literally he had a little bit of drama one day, and he just kind of ghosted. Crazy, like, he was just, like, not even like, oh, I'm leaving hobbying. He just disappeared completely. I think he actually deleted his Facebook and everything. He was just, like, gone.
Took his money and ran. I mean...
Well, like I said, the crazy thing about it was he had his own studio, and he even after the Kickstarter, he was releasing new stuff, and it was like, and I personally liked him, barring the fucking pour joint being on the pinky. I think his pores could have been a little bit better laid out, his vents, but ultimately the models look good. I'm looking at the Minotaur portion of it right now, and the models look good, and he was designing more, and then that happened, and then gone. So it really sucks, because that means all of those miniatures are now gone. So, what are you working on today, Yeji? Anything?
I have a miniature from Yokai Quest sitting on my desk right now. I mean, I've been, honestly, like, this week and a half, like, since I've been strengthening my shoulder back, it's been pretty productive. Like, I've gotten more Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff painted. I got a lot of the like a terrain box painted. I got some stuff for Ninja Division done. I'm working on a couple other things that are more adult.
Oh, the fun stuff.
I have a couple of garage kits. Yeah. So yeah, just pretty much working. It's been a year. I know we all kind of say that, but like it really just between all the medical stuff going on over here in this house and all of the all of that stuff, like mental health stuff. Like I've started seeing a therapist. Like just a lot of steps forward, and then it feels like a lot of steps backward too. You know, the same huge.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Legion of the Cow right now to see if they are in fact shut down, or if they just moved to a web store and kind of distance themselves from
moved.
Yeah, if they moved on. Oh, so what army did you decide to get into, Krys?
I decided to do the orcs.
The orcs.
The orcs.
The spores. The spores.
The very angry fungi. I've always liked their grungy Mad Max look to them.
I've honestly always liked orcs, but I am terrified of ever starting an orc army.
I understand that after grabbing a few, painting them, it's fine painting them. Then I started looking at the points and looking how much certain things cost and how little they cost, some of them, and I need a lot more army.
Well,
yeah, no, that's why Clint actually sold his orc army off years ago, because he gathered them all, and he had like maybe 2,000 points of orcs, maybe more, 2,500, and he was just like, I'm not gonna paint all of these.
Exactly. So I started this kind of a little bit different way. I started with the Speed Freaks, so I got a lot of vehicles, so it takes up a little more points than.
See, if I ever did an army, it would most definitely be Speed Freaks. I've always loved all of the different orc vehicles, and I honestly think that is what would draw me. If I could do a pure Speed Freak where I didn't have any boys or anything like that, that's how an orc army could honestly grab my attention and hold on to me and make it where I don't.
One thing I wish we could do is you could acquire vehicles from other factions.
You used to be able to. It was called looted vehicles, and that used to be a huge part of orcs, was the different looted vehicles.
Which would be even better, because then you could pull your vehicles that you like of everything and just throw orcs on them.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. No, but I ended up doing, personally, the Primaris Space Marines, and as an example of why orcs would be a bad idea for me is I have 15,000 points of Space Marines, which is about 150 models plus a ton of vehicles. And if I go that buck wild when building orcs, I would end up needing a whole new house to just house my orcs. And that's kind of like how my obsessive compulsive hobby disorder is that I probably would end up getting like 20,000 points of orcs and have more orcs. Because here's the dangerous thing about orcs is that I want a Titan. I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of random shit, glue it together, and hey, look, I got a Titan. And I have an entire Titan Legion. And that's where orcs scare me. And that's why I don't do orcs.
Yeah, I've always liked the look of them and stuff like that. I like the grunginess of them, and I don't like the pristineness of like Space Marines or the Eldar or anything like that. I've always liked just the grungy.
Yeah, I've got like 20,000 points of Eldar too.
But I also went through and bought myself a bust, so I'm trying to paint that too.
Busts are fun. They really are. I ended up getting into the bust theme real heavy. Like you do one and all of a sudden you're like, these are fun. Because you get to do shit on busts that you don't honestly get to do on anything else. Speaking of bust, Yeji is actually doing some big things with another company dealing with bust, and she's doing a beautiful dragon right now.
Well, I haven't received it yet because it's it's going for the Nova Open Charity Foundation summer raffle. So last year I did one for Nova Open. And it was the other dragon bust, the colorful, like red, blue, purples one. And so this year I paired up with Punished Games again. They just came out with the new dragon bust. It's not for sale yet, but they're getting me a newly minted copy here pretty soon, so that I can paint it up for the charity.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna end up buying one for myself.
It's a cool looking model. Like he definitely does different takes on dragons, because that's what he wanted to do, and it looks beautiful. Like I know I'm gonna still yell at him while I'm painting it and go, Liam, why'd you do this to me? Because I did that with the first one. So he'll get daily messages, but it'll still be fun to paint. I think I kind of have an idea of it. So you guys could win it during the summer charity raffle too. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that would be a no from me. I can definitely tell you though that I will not win it because I will not be entering.
Well, then someone else can win it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather honestly, as much as I love you and your. As much as I love you and your painting and everything, I would rather paint it myself. Which actually,
just saying, you haven't painted in how many years?
Actually, it was about a month and a half ago. I finished a commission that I never, ever, ever, ever want to do again, ever.
So you want to do it again?
No, not at all. If anyone ever asked me, hey, can you do a fucking taxidermy for me? Nope, not at all. Nope. That sucked so bad. It smelled so bad. It was just, no. Had an absolutely horrible time doing that model. It was so bad.
I mean, it's not really a model as it is an actual snake, but
yeah, but it was still painting something, and it was just so bad because the paint wouldn't react to it like it should. Or how I was expecting it to. The scales were coming off as I'm in the process of painting it. It was taxidermied, so it smelled, and it smelled bad, like real bad. And never again. Never. I will never ever do. Now I'll do another snake. Joe was talking about having me do we found an actual real cool looking cobra, and we were talking about, and it's a resin model, and he was thinking about having me do one of those. I'll do that, but no. Actually, I'm going to start with the kids working and everything, it's finally starting to warm up a little bit. Like the beginning of my summer has been absolutely fucking crazy. We're trying to find a dry time so we can put a fence up. I've been doing all the stuff outside that I've needed to. We had some really bad windstorms this year, so we've been cleaning up so many tree branches from our entire property. It's just, it's like everything that we've been needing to do over the winter, I'm starting to do right now. So I've been wanting to paint. I've actually been wanting to do a podcast, but I've been wanting to paint so bad, and I just haven't had time. Like none. It just seems like every weekend my entire schedule has just been sucked away. There's many times that I may have had 2 hours, and I was doing something like one weekend I had like 2 hours of free time, and me and Andrew worked on his RC car, and that was all of the free time I had for the entire weekend. It was fucking nuts. It was just absolutely crazy. I just didn't have any time. I haven't had much time at all. It's starting to get a little bit better because the honey to-do list is getting caught up. But holy crap. And the kids having jobs, I'm not going to lie. It's nice that they're making their own money, but I am so fucking tired of playing Daddy Taxi that it's not even funny. That's actually a really cool model, Krys.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to save all the tiny details that it has, but that's the hard part.
Actually, this is if you take and do a very light dry brush over everything, not to like actually do a dry brush, but what you're just wanting to do is to capture the details. Because sometimes trying to paint on a flat black surface is just totally a nightmare. So what you can do is you take a light dry brush and you just go over the areas just real finely so it catches those raised surfaces a little bit. So it gives you a better visual representation of kind of like, hey, okay, I see these now, so this is what I'm going to need to do around that area. I'm going to need to make sure to not overdo it here. Okay, this is chainmail, so I can go ahead and block it in. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with going through and just doing all the block colors. I hate it personally. I think Yeji does too. Like, paint all the chainmail, paint all of the plates, paint his skin, everything, and just block it. It's blocking the colors in. You don't do any shading. You don't do... Some people paint like that. There are people who the entire model will be black except for the face, and the face is like the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. Some people do section by section. Some people will actually block the entire model and then start working on it and bringing the colors. It just depends on your style. Usually I find it a little easier, especially for newer painters, to block everything, because then you can get a generalized idea of how you want everything to go, and you can see if you think it's going to work. You may want the models to be the chainmail to be silver, but when you block it in, you're like, ooh, maybe copper will work better.
Yeah, like one of the videos I always saw that when I was first starting to paint, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to do stuff. And with one of the videos, it told me, don't be afraid to paint messy. It'll go a lot faster, and you can just correct yourself a little bit later when you paint over it. If you take your time and paint everything little by little, it's going to take you forever to paint a single model.
Well, yes and no. Like I said, it all depends.
Like, I paint nicely, but I don't paint like the whole thing bronze and then go from there.
Yeah. Like I've seen, especially if you get into like the pro painters from Italy or stuff, you'll see them where the model will be completely black except for like the face, and the face is just like gorgeous. But the rest of the model hasn't been done. They literally go like millimeter by millimeter and then paint it. Then there's painters that will block in the entire model, and then they'll go back and then they'll do the face, and then they'll do the armor, and then they'll do all this stuff. It's just...
And it's situational too, so like whatever you want to do with it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's 110% into the of how you feel comfortable.
Yeah, if you look at the back there, that little squares along the back, that's what I'm afraid to lose, because it's on different parts of the other model also. And it's not very deep either, is the problem.
Yeah, and that is a problem. I mean, it's when you're first getting into it, you've got to really figure out how you're going to not oversaturate.
Part of it is keeping your paint thinner, but not too thin.
Remember, you can always... Okay, might be a bad way of thinking about it. You can always apply 100 thin coats to bring a color up to the way that you want it. But the first time that you screw up and you add one heavy coat and it erases something, that's pretty much it. It's done. So, yeah.
I mean, technically it's not done. You can strip it and restart it.
I mean, I don't mean done like what Yeji said. But you can always add more pigment of super thin paint. So it's always safer to err, especially when you're new, err on the side of maybe a little bit of over thinning, because then you can put, like Duncan says, you can put 2 thin coats on it, but 1 thick coat might mess it up. You can even put 3 thin coats. You can even put a dozen thin coats if they're thin enough. So
I used to paint with like 70 thin coats.
Yeah, and eventually you learn like, I could probably stop using so many thin coats, and then all of a sudden you're only going 10 thin coats, and then it's 5, and then you really dial in on how thick you want your paint. And once you find that magic formula, and there is no formula, folks, there isn't it. It's all on you. You know, it's all on how you want to paint. Once you find that personal magic formula and you get it dialed in, and you put 1 or 2 of your coats on there and it looks perfect, boom, magic. But
I've also learned that I like painting on black better than white or gray.
I paint on gray. Actually, I paint on yellow. Funny enough, I paint on yellow. And that's another thing. You don't have to paint on black. You don't have to paint on white. You can paint on gray. You can paint on yellow. And honestly, it's a really weird...
It's all personal preference again. Like, I paint on black, but that's also because I'm doing a lot of commission work, so it's fast. Like, I need to get it done faster, so black I'm not going to go sit and, like, a nook that my paintbrush can't get into. I'm not going to sit there and try and shove some paint up there. I'm leaving that black as a shadow.
Black is the cheater's paint, is the cheater's primer. And don't worry, I'm not saying it mean. I prime my shit black whenever I'm going for, like what you said, a quick. You know, you're looking for a good solid tabletop, maybe tabletop plus or even tabletop plus plus. Black is fine, because if there is an area that A, you miss, or B, you just can't get to, it automatically, hey, look, it's covered already, yay. But for like my busts. And I would adjust this. I do a lot of orc busts, so I prime my stuff in yellow, because yellow goes along with the green skin quite well. But it's not white. It's one of those things. And also another reason I prime in yellow is Yeji, many moons ago, bought me a very large bottle of yellow Stynylrez. And so I just really got into the habit of priming everything with yellow, because it was at the time the only Stynylrez that I had. I have the entire line now, but at the time it was literally the only one I had, and I just got used to priming everything in yellow. So I've really got into painting everything off of yellow. And you can do that with blue. You can do that with red. You can do whatever the hell you want to. And it's situational. You know, there might be something that I paint, like the Space Marines I'm going to get ready to do. Those bitches are going to be primed in black, and then they're going to be sprayed over with blue. Because I'm playing Smurfs, because kiss my ass. If I'm going to play a hated army, I'm going to play the hated army. No, but I've always loved Calgar, even back in 2nd edition. So I'm a Ultramarine hipster. I liked Ultramarines before it was cool. Back whenever. Friends, go ahead.
We have PAX up here in Seattle, and even one year, me and my friends were going to try and build some armor, and they were all going to go as Space Marines. I said, screw it, I'm going to go as a Chaos Marine. I'm doing a Sound Marine. I was planning on putting speakers into my armor and walking around blasting annoying music as I walk around PAX.
And that's how Krys gets banned from PAX.
I mean, he's your friend.
He's our friend now. He is part of the family.
So that's what I was going to, but never happened. It made me sad.
So one thing that I'm planning on doing with the website is, if you haven't watched it, if you're not into Magic the Gathering, there's a guy, he's called Tolarian Community College. And what he does is he actually will get like three or four different deck boxes, and he talks about them, and he weighs them kind of not on their own merit. He doesn't compare, each one of them. Everything's done on his own merit. So I think I'm actually going to copy what he does for different tools like flush cutters, because one of our podcast fans and one of my fans on TikTok sent me a pair of God hands. And so I have those. I went out and purchased Bandai's entry nippers.
You keep sounding like it's flesh cutters, not flush cutters.
I keep hearing flesh. So I was very confused.
Flush cutters. cutters. So I went out and bought Bandai's entry nippers of their flush cutters. And then I also have a pair of Hack-On flush cutters. And I have a few other premium and not so premium ones. And my idea is I'm going to go through all these different flush cutters and compare them. And that's as an example. And I'm going to do the same on paintbrushes, and I'm going to do the same on a whole bunch of stuff. And it's one of those deals where it's going to be one of those deals where I'm not going to buy 75 different flush cutters right now. I'm going to do the initial comparison with the 5 or 6 that I already own, probably in sets of 3 or 4. I'll do 4 of them, and then when I finally acquire enough to do another set of 3 or 4, I'll do it. Same with the brushes. And then I'll just keep an overall running tally. And maybe every so often I'll come back and I'll revisit stuff and be like, hey, I did these stuff and all of that jazz. So that's basically... What's that?
Speaking of Bandai, I picked up a pair of metallic markers of theirs. I just sent it on our group.
Yes, yeah, you ended up snagging their marker set. You're gonna have to...
I haven't done anything with them yet, but I was thinking about trying to do a model with them or something, or see how that works. I don't know how it works.
Is it the
liners?
No, I think it's their actual the Fat Boys.
Metallic marker set. That's what they call them.
Yeah, I don't think that's their panel liners. I know which ones you're talking about. I think these are actually the thick-tipped ones designed to repaint entire models. So I have some paint models and paint miniatures like that as well that I want to play with. But yeah, and so Bandai apparently actually, these are their basic ones is the one I have. They're called the entry nippers, and they were $10. And I like them. One thing I do like about them is they're small.
That's nice.
Where's my... I don't know where my slide is. But I think they're only like 4 or 5 inches long compared to a standard set of nips. They're like a good 2 to 3 inches shorter than a standard set of nips. And they are actually over an inch smaller than God Hands. And God Hands are actually small. Like they're not exactly big clippers or big cutters. So they're
the inner 12-year-old is laughing her head off inside of me.
Why?
Why do you have a 12-year-old?
The inner 12-year-old.
Okay, so why is your inner 12-year-old laughing?
Because you like them small, and the pair of nips are nice and small.
So you're meaning someone with... Never mind. Nope. I'll offend somebody, or I'll get put on the list somewhere. No, but...
You did put a warning out there that you will get offended, and then laugh, and then get offended again.
But no, they're very... nice.
Hey, some people miss this, okay? Okay, Larry?
No, I get that. I
haven't been inappropriate in a long time. I'm bottling this up.
Oh, Lord. She's been bottling it up for that long. No, yeah, I like them small. I like my nips small. But they're perfect for travel size. I wanted something that was pocket sized. So these are their entry nippers. But they're actually very petite. And they're cheap, too. They're petite and cheap. $5. Make you love you long time. But they also have another pair that's like $40, and I'll eventually pick those up. And eventually I'm going to pick up the intermediate pair of God Hands, and I'll probably add them to the comparison list. So, because I've noticed there's actually 2 different types of sprue cutters. There's not just one. There's a double-bladed design, and there's actually a single-bladed design. And,
really?
Yeah. And God Hands are single-bladed. I believe the advanced nippers from Bandai are single-bladed. Your premium ones tend to be single-bladed. And like that blade on there, like you can see the blade on a pair of sprue cutters. They're sharp, but they're not like insane. No, like the blade that's on the God Hand is fucking sharp. Like sharp. Like cut your fucking hand open if you mess with it wrong sharp.
Like I have a Citadel, and I don't know what the other one is, and they're both okay. They're not the greatest, but
Citadel isn't bad actually for a pair of sprue cutters. They're not bad. The problem with the Citadel ones is they're fucking expensive. Like I can honestly recommend my favorite.
So are God Hands.
What's that?
So are God Hands. Like
no, I get that, but I can compare. Okay, so I can compare a pair of Citadel sprue cutter. I can compare a Citadel sprue cutter with a pair of Hack-On that I purchased from Amazon, and this is the brand I have used for probably 8 years. Hack-On. I don't know who makes them. I don't know. They're probably some Chinese company. I don't know, but they've been available, and they're one of the few companies that have stuck around and that I could have bought multiple times. And
mine are called Play-Doh. I must be more sophisticated.
Something. But these things are like $7, and they've always been $7. They were $7 6, 7, 8 years ago, and they're still $7. And they're very comparable with the Games Workshop ones. And honestly, I think the Hack-Ons are a little bit better with blade alignment. And the what you don't get is the Citadel ones have a really nice weight to them. If you like heavier tools, they fit in your hand and they look cool. They have the entire GW aesthetic. They have their own little aesthetic. Whereas the Hack-Ons are your standard double blade, has a rubber handle. They're not anything special. They say Hack-On on them. Ooh. But we're also talking the fact that I can purchase 4 or 5 pairs of Hack-On for 1 pair of Citadel.
Where
I got the Citadel along with a Space Marine set kit.
Right, but they're like $30-$35. I actually went to the hobby shop not that long ago, the super awesome hobby shop that's like right down the road from my work. They did not, because they usually sell their stuff 20% off. So I was like, if they have the snips, I will go ahead and buy them, because eventually I'm going to have to bring them in on this little contest, because they're, for a lot of people out there, they're going to be the most common snips that you can purchase. But they didn't have any. But okay, so God Hands. Yes, God Hands are $50 to $60 a pair. And there's actually even more expensive ones. But I have never had a pair of snips that could get into a space as tight and also cut as light. There's a difference between cutting something off the sprue with a pair of flush cutters that have a double blade that kind of pinch when they cut versus the single blade like the God Hand is, that basically what it does is the block side, the chopping block, for lack of a better term, sits on one side and the blade swings in, and you can pretty much shave it down to the actual piece, as in nothing left to have to trim. Is that worth $60? Maybe. If you have the expendable income to use, then yeah, I'd say absolutely. I think they're worth it. They're really, really nice, but they're also very fragile. They break pretty easy. I've talked to numerous people where their God Hands have broke. It's just one of those things. But when I say the blade is sharp, I mean it's like an X-Acto blade coming in and chopping. It's not like a normal pair of snips where when you cut, it kind of pinches the material apart. It's a complete. I did not think that they were going to be worth the money. I really, really different. I didn't. And I'm the guy that owns 2 Infinity airbrushes. I looked at this. I was like, there's no way a pair of sprue cutters is going to be worth $60. Worth $60? If you have the cash. It's not a needed purchase at all. Are they nice? And would I buy another pair for $60? Yes, I would. Absolutely. They like.
Well, and especially if you're doing like Gundam stuff, like it makes a lot more sense to get those than to maybe accidentally like create the little lines that our regular clippers will.
Honestly, with some of the okay, if I'd had a pair of God Hands, and this is not bullshit, if I'd had a pair of God Hands whenever I was messing around with Mr. Pinky and McPinky, I honestly could have probably snipped the sprue off without busting his pinky off. That's how clean a cut these things make. It's fucking ridiculous. Did you
try a jeweler saw on that guy too?
Yes, the second one. The first one I tried with a standard pair of snips, and it busted the pinky off. The second one, if you listen to that episode, because I ordered one for myself, so I was going to give you mine, I used a jeweler saw on it, and it busted the pinky off too.
It was going really well. And then I was like, watch, he's going to nip that off. Lo and behold,
Yeah, there's a long line of profanities. If I was more motivated, I'd go get that entire segment and splice it into this one. So, oh man.
The silence.
The silence. It shall kill you. So what are you working on right now, Krys?
I'm actually working on that bust like I showed you guys.
Ah, nice.
In a little color onto it and trying to save the details, pop them out a little more.
That always.
I learned that I like silver, copper, red, and black together, at least. The combination of colors I like together, so I'm going to try and get this.
Are you a fan of Spawn?
A little bit.
Yeah. You should actually, if you like those colors, I'd almost suggest looking for an out-of-box Spawn, McFarlane Spawn. I don't think they're that expensive. He's produced so many of them. And do a repaint on it.
Yeah, because when I was painting my first, wow, I can't remember the name of them right now. I want to call him a Skyboy, but I don't think that's right. Jetpack orcs.
You're asking the wrong guy. Skyboy, Rocket Boy, Pack Boy, whatever.
Something like that. Well, I was painting the first one of them, and I just painted it just right, and I was like, that's it. And it just clicked for every other one to make it match, and they look fantastic now.
That's always nice. Whenever you do that first paint job, and it's like, pow, just.
I think I had to go back and redo it with another one then. Then it worked.
Oh, another piece of news. Since I think the last time we podcasted, Yeji got engaged. I mean, it's not like.
Congrats, Yeji.
I think she's like either eating or had to run to the bathroom or something.
I'm just going. Sure, engaged. Sure.
She just ignores me.
Oh, whoa! What? Yeji.
Legally, we're married.
What?
Yeah.
Courtroom?
Okay, so, yeah, first I'm hearing about this.
Yeah,
surprise?
we haven't told many people.
Well, congratulations, podcast people. You just learned. Yep. Yeji is married.
We've literally kept it between a lot of people here in town and... Well, not a lot, but like our close friends here in town. And I think Lynn, because we talked because of something else.
Yeah, I know what the something else is.
Yep.
More than likely, I know what the something else is.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's out of the bag, too, so.
Yeah.
Because she announced.
It's part of it, too, was also because, like, the house, and everything. So, we're just like, let's just get this done.
Well.
Congrats.
Funny as that is, Kara and I are getting married again in about a week. So,
woohoo!
Yeah, she's changing jobs and all of that. She's decided that the medical field just ain't her thing, and she's been
for everybody.
Right, and it really isn't. It's the type of office environment it is, and she's moving on to a different job, and it doesn't have insurance, at least at the start. So, to trigger in a change of insurance policy for me at work, I have to have something big, which big is included marriage. So my insurance person is probably going to fucking murder me because she just not that long ago took care off my insurance. And I got yelled at because I accidentally carried Kara on my insurance while we were divorced. Apparently that's a no-no. But in all fairness, I swear I sent a copy of my divorce decree to her. I swear I did. And apparently, yeah, so she yelled at me for carrying my ex-wife on my insurance. Oops. So now she gets to add her back. That poor woman. Oh, I owe her a case of beer. And I already asked. She likes beer more than wine. So, yeah, so we're getting married again. Yeji and Clint are apparently married. I'm actually, my feelings are mildly hurt. Like, how long have I known you? And you couldn't at least...
Well, we were gonna see if we were gonna do a whole ceremony and everything like this year. But like the more that I think about it, the more that I get stressed out about it. And I've never dreamt of doing a ceremony. Like that's always been my parents' thing.
You should totally get married at ReaperCon.
I'm not making my birthday weekend that. No.
Well, you don't have to make the day, but you should do even just a fake ceremony. It doesn't have to be a real ceremony. You don't have to have a license or anything. I think it'd be cool to have all your friends around and at least all your nerd friends.
The reader.
Yeah, it should make me officiate.
So, like, I don't think we're actually going to do a ceremony at all.
Oh, we're not.
Just because, like, it just anxiety levels, like, 9,000.
Completely.
We, Kara and I, we're going over to my friend's house who happens to be a pastor. He's ordained, and he's going to wham jam, thank you ma'am, me too are married again. It's not like, we haven't been through this once already. Yeah. There's a reason why it's again. And honestly, we weren't planning on getting married. We really weren't. This is honestly just so we can make sure she gets insurance and everything else. I mean, we live together. We bought a house together, and most people think we're married, and we refer to each other as husband and wife. But she has this odd thing, and I do kind of understand it. The entire concept of being married just causes her a lot of anxiety and stress. And I was like, whatever. I don't need a piece of paper telling me, that you're my
know what happened though? When I posted the engagement photos and stuff, like there were so many comments going, I thought you guys were already married.
Well, y'all been together forever, like ever. And for most people, for those who didn't think that Yeji and I were married, I still don't get that one, but okay. Apparently,
yeah. But then again, people have mistaken our roommate, like, because our roommate's my little brother, like, I adopted him as my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And they've mistaken him for Clint, like, all the time. And it's people that have met Clint before, so, like, that just completely blows my mind.
Weird. But yeah, if you missed it, Krys, for a while, actually, and oddly enough, like, a good portion of our listeners thought that Yeji and I were married and that we were podcasting, like sitting next to each other, and everybody else was telecommuting in. I was like, well, I mean, that says how good our podcast is. I was like, no, Yeji and I have never met. She lives in Las Vegas. I live in Indiana. We've literally have never, at that point, had never met each other.
Point, yeah.
We've met each other a couple times since then, but yeah, we had not even met, and it was fucking crazy. It was hilarious. They're like, you guys just sound like you're married. Thanks. I think Clint might be a little hurt on that one. I was like, if you want to say like we're besties from middle and high school, yeah, that's more fitting, but no.
It's your hobby wife. That sounds horrible. I'm sorry. That is not. Nope. That doesn't work.
I mean, in a strange way, yeah, I guess you could almost say that. And it's like hobby best friend. She's like my hobby sister. There's not a chance.
Wife,
kind of, but there's no chance in hell that her and I could get married ever.
Nope.
We'd fucking murder each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we act like we love each other on the show, but in real life, Yeji and I hate each other.
Yep.
She's so tired of me randomly sending her fucking messages with no preamble, and me going, "Did I overreact in this?"
It means you trust her. That's all.
I really do. Honestly, she's kind of my conscience, and I'll read something, and I've actually gotten into a better habit of sending her the message before I reply now. I'll be like, read this. Just let me know. Am I reading too much into this? Because I'm really hoping I'm reading too much into this. Because if not, I'm about to lose my shit. And it's not been so much recently, but 2 years ago, it was like I'd send a message to Yeji and be like, read this a second. Am I losing my fucking shit?
She's your sounding board.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit more than just a sounding board. She's more like my conscience and my PR team and my...
Definitely PR team.
Well, I've come to learn that, it's one of those things. Yeji and I are our brands. Yeji does reflect a portion of Models Workshop, but she definitely reflects Snickerneck. And I definitely am part of the embodiment of Models Workshop. And honestly, I don't care about being known as the hard ass in the community. Actually, a lot of people kind of enjoy our banter because of that. We don't hold punches. But I noticed personally that I was becoming too negative, and it was reflecting in Models Workshop. And I don't mind pushing buttons when buttons need to be pushed, like the entire case with a few months ago with AK Interactive, or when Scale 75 does something that upsets the community. I don't mind calling attention to that or pushing it out. And Yeji doesn't mind either. But I didn't want to be known as the shit poster. The guy that never posts anything positive, is overly negative, and along those lines. Because then it comes to the point of, I don't want it to be like, oh, Larry's just being pissy again. I want it to where if I actually raise my voice against something, I want it to mean something. I want it to be like, oh shit, maybe this is an actual issue. Maybe this is something. Wolf. It's not so much crying wolf, because everything that I would say was honestly true-ish, but I want to not focus on talking negative about everything that came up. Some of the small shit, honestly, not to say it doesn't deserve my attention, but it's kind of self-regulating. It's taking care of itself. But when a bigger issue comes up and I voice my concern about it, I want people to be like, oh crap. Like, we have, oddly enough, through a somewhat negative article. No, it wasn't somewhat. It was a really negative article that Yeji wrote and then I edited. And because of that, we actually have a pretty good relationship with Scale 75.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like when that article came out, it was, they ended up messaging Yeji, and what they said put Yeji into tears. And I had a 2-hour-long phone conversation with their U.S. liaison, and I was not happy. Like, I think Yeji coined this term that I'm a pit bull for my friend, and that's what it was. He had said something and kind of implied like legal threat, and I went off. I said everything from, we are a press organization, we are posting this, and all. It's in the past now, and the article's still up. I've actually posted a couple commentaries on it, but the post is still there if you ever want to listen to it or go read it. But from that, I now have Brian's phone number, his cell phone number, not his company phone, his cell phone number, his personal email address, and everything. And we have a really good working relationship, because he come to find out that we are honestly looking out for the better of the community, and he is looking out for the better of his brand. Well, it doesn't serve him well to piss off the community. And so if there's a problem that arises, and we have used this a couple times, if a problem arises and we start hearing something about his brand or anything else, we reach out to him, be like, hey, bud, just to let you know, what you're doing is starting to get a little bit of buzz. This is what's being said. And they listen. Like, he listens. There's been a couple times they were going to do something and we heard a buzz about it, and we messaged him, and they either completely changed what they were doing or they put out information to go along with it. So it actually works. So that's like one of our success stories. And that was us using our big voice to go, hey, this is wrong and you shouldn't be doing this. Or, hey, you're being a bit hypocritical, which was kind of what the post was about. And, you know, they listened, and they listened really well. They started off in the wrong foot, but we eventually came around, and we were all talking. Like I said, we have a pretty good working relationship. And they apologized to Yeji. He said it. And that was the big thing for me personally. You know, if he wants to piss off the painting community, that's on him, you know, but don't make my friend cry, because, no, because I am that type of friend. I try to be, at least.
You're a good friend.
Well, if a friend fucks up, I'll call him on it. I'll be the first one to call him on it. But everything that she had said in that article was absolutely true. I know this because I edited the damn thing. It was true. And I hate bringing up the past, but basically they tried to flex, and it didn't work. Like I said, it turned out into a great relationship, and it turns out they're very receptive. Brian is very receptive.
Mm-hmm. And like the U.S. team is also like a little separate from the Spain team. A
lot separate, not a little.
Yeah.
The Spain team has done shit that the U.S. team didn't know that they were doing. I remember I remember one thing that completely just got canceled. They were doing, the Spanish team announced a model they were doing, and once again, it was a fucking Nazi. And I, like, off the initial pictures, I started getting a ton of buzz, and I was like, oh shit. So I text him, and I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on, but you might want to look at the model your Spanish team just released, because it has people fucking pissed. Like, straight up fucking pissed. And this thing has only been out for 4 hours, so you can still get ahead of it. So, yeah, he messaged them, and I guess he told them to take it down, because it disappeared, like, pretty damn quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it does work, you know, having a voice in the community and being able to use it in the proper way. It really does work. And that's in general, that's what I'm looking for. I don't need to bring up every little minor complaint that people have. But when I do, I want it to where if Yeji says something, or if I say something, or if you say something, I wanted people to go, maybe we should reevaluate what's going on, or maybe we should reach out to them and see what's going on. Because we've had that too. We've had companies, Brian, Midnight Heroes, he pissed me off one day. And he and I have a great relationship nowadays, but he ended up pissing me off one time because he, in a nutshell, he asked for advice and then ignored every bit of fucking advice that we gave him. And then most of the advice turned out to be true. Like, in hindsight, it turned out that what we had told him was legitimately what should have probably have happened. But, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, I like helping people, and I don't like being the dick all the time. But, you know, whenever I am a dick, I want it to. I'm rambling now. So, Yeji.
What?
I bet people have missed the rambling Larry.
Rambling better than ranting, though. So, you know.
I don't know. I had some really interesting rants. My fun rants were always good. The ones where I went to go put on a show versus the ones where I was actually upset. Not every one of my rants are serious. God, maybe I should start being like, Larry's a very sarcastic son of a bitch. Apparently, some people don't catch on to the fact that I'm very sarcastic. I need to wear a fucking sign, I guess. Sarcasm. Danger.
Wait, Larry's sarcastic?
Right? Right? Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought that I'm sarcastic? I never fucking knew that. I just thought I was just the biggest dickhead in the fucking world. Some people think that. Some people think I'm the biggest dick in the entire world. And that's why
sometimes I reply to some stuff, I'm like, was that too much of a dick thing to say?
Oh, trust me.
Nothing comes back. I'm like, okay, it was fine.
Oh, if it's in our chat, don't worry about it. If we think it's too dickish, we'll tell you, or we'll ask like, "Are you being serious?" Because there's been a couple times like Yeji has said something, and I'm like, "What?" Because she has this weird times. Like she'll switch from like old wizened Asian lady to teenage Asian girl. You know, it's like one moment she'll be joking around with you, and the next minute she's like, "Yo, no, bad." And it's like, what the fuck? Are you joking? No, I'm being serious. Okay. The next moment it's like she'll say something. It's like, well, lighten up. I'm just joking, guys.
I mean, everyone's multifaceted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're honestly one of the harder ones to read sometimes, especially with no vocal cues. It's like...
Yeah, it's the vocal cues for me, because, like, I always do that Asian, like, harsh love thing, too.
Right.
So that's sometimes hard to understand for, you know, you white folk.
Yeah. Like, I had to explain to Kara today, because we ordered takeout from one of our local Japanese places, and she's like, well, that was abrupt. And I was like, no, that's Asian, actually. That's very common. Americans have these...
We don't want service. We want you to give us our food and leave us alone.
Right.
It's like, go away.
We called, and it's Ninja Japan. If you happen to be in Muncie, Indiana, go there. Their food is fucking amazing. Out of control roll. A+. But it's one of those things. It's like, hey, we want plain noodles, steak fried rice, and an out of control roll. And they're like, okay, anything else? It's like, no, that's it. All right, 10 minutes, bye. And then hung up.
And she was just getting other orders out. Like, it's...
Well, I've noticed even in slow areas, and I get it today, they're probably busy, but, you know, I've called them on Wednesday, and I've called other, like, Chinese restaurants, and they're the same way. And it's a culture thing. Americans have to say goodbye like 17 fucking times before we get off the phone. Whereas... No,
but that's the thing. Asian goodbye is different. So it's just, like, situational wise, it's different. But, like, service wise, yeah, it's one of those things that even, like, my parents still, when they go out somewhere, well, not, in the past year, but
right.
When they used to go out to restaurants and stuff, it's like, they're always like, why are you stopping by our table every 5 seconds? Like, they're like, we want you to just go away. Like, leave us alone. I'm going to call you if, I need anything. I'm going to call you over, not on your time.
Right, and that's another weird thing about American culture is you expect to, like, if you go out to the restaurant, you expect to be waited on hand and foot, like them to. I don't know how many times that I was like done drinking a glass of liquid and they brought me a refill. I get it that you want to be Johnny on the spot, and that's a very American thing. We want stuff there before it's out, before we think about it. Whereas in a lot of other cultures, if you want a refill, you raise your hand and you let someone know, hey, I need your attention. And then they come over, and if you need a refill, you let them know you need a refill, and they bring you one. And I think it's honestly part of American entitlement. And it's not like we're entitled like a Karen. It's just how we've honestly been raised. We're raised whenever you go to a restaurant, you expect to have a fresh Coke waiting on you. But like I said, how many times have you went out to a restaurant? And, I was a server for a hot minute too, so I kind of get it as well. But it's one of those things where, like, bring a person one, then another, and then anything after the second one, hey, do you need another refill? Or you wait for them to get your attention. But if a person has to get your attention in the restaurant, that's a bad thing. That counts against being against the server, and that's kind of weird. And in like you've said, in Asian culture, it's the opposite. They want to, if they need you, they'll get your attention.
Yep. Like, why do you think in Korean restaurants they have the little push button for to call the waiter?
I don't think I've actually been to a Korean restaurant. I've been to Chinese. I've been to Japanese.
Larry, get your ass over to Vegas.
I need to, like, real bad.
Like, it's been long enough. Get your ass to Vegas.
I'm actually vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated too.
I am fully.
I will be on the 30th.
Our roommate's vaccinated as of tomorrow. The only person not vaccinated in the house is Xavier.
So, okay, so
but,
Xavier,
that's because he's under 16.
Yeah, and that's a problem we're having. All of our kids can get it except for Andrew, the one kid who actually got COVID. Out of our entire family.
Wait, Andrew, is he old enough?
No, he's not. But he's the one person in our house that actually caught COVID, and he can't go get a vaccine. Whereas none of us have gotten COVID, but we can go get the vaccine. They are actually looking at opening the trial up to 12 to 15-year-olds. That was something that I saw on the news yesterday, and that they're seriously looking at opening it up to 12 to 15-year-olds. So that's a little bit of good news.
I'd have to say it was quite interesting traveling like 2-3 weeks ago, because like everyone's 6 feet apart everywhere. But once you get on the plane, they stuff them like sardines.
Yeah, but that air is like so heavily filtered.
Yeah.
Honestly, being on the plane is safer than being in the airport.
Yep, because of how sterile the air is in the airplane.
It's just like it was really weird. Like you're thinking like they're still going to do the separation, so probably not going to have a whole lot of people in there. No, those packed like sardines.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's because the restrictions were lifted a little bit further. Mm-hmm. Because when our kids came down, December, they said that they had a row to themselves, like they were separated with one chair in between.
That's funny as you mentioned that. That's how our movie theater is that you have one chair in between, but the way the rows are, they're far enough apart, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. All I know is I'm going to go watch
Mortal Kombat
tomorrow. So
we just actually went to the movie theaters today. First outing in like forever.
A year.
Grocery store stuff.
I went and watched a movie a few weeks ago. Damn, what was it I went and watched?
But we went and watched the anime movie for Demon Slayer.
We went and watched Raya, and the Last Dragon.
Oh.
How was that? Worth it?
It was neat.
No groundbreaker?
No. It was definitely middle of the road Pixar. It wasn't like, oh my god, but it wasn't A Good Dinosaur. I hate a good dinosaur. I hate that movie. But it wasn't like... visually, it was really pretty. Hold up. Is Raya Pixar? Before I open my mouth.
I thought Raya was Disney.
Disney. And Pixar is Disney also?
Well, it's different. There's a definite difference. No, it's straight Disney. It's not...
I know it's on Disney Plus for $20.
Well, it's available for sale now. You can go to Vudu and buy it.
Yeah.
So
I'm mad at Disney Plus doing that shit though.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's like you're already subscribing to their streaming service, and yet you're going to charge me more to view this. Like,
yes, but this is a theater movie, so at a certain point, like, okay, we ended up spending $65 to go out to the movie theater and watch it. It was me and another family. It was me, my kids, and another family. We all went. So it was a good number of people. Or we could have spent $30 and went and watched. Okay, you know what pisses me off about that? Is that I do digital movies pretty heavy, like way more than I should. And what bothers me about it is if I spend the $30 on it to get it on Disney Plus early, I don't get a copy of it when it comes out. If I would get a to own digital copy of it when it came out, with the $30 deal, I would do that for pretty much every movie that comes out.
So I'm saying that makes sense, but like just to stream it, I have to pay extra. Like, no.
I kind of get it.
If I'm going to pay extra, like, you should be giving me a copy of it.
I do agree. And I really honestly agree with that. But I do get what they're coming from, because it's basically you're getting to watch a movie at home instead of having to go to the theater. And they're not the only ones that did that. I mean, they weren't even the first ones to do that. Trolls 2, I think, was the first film that
it was
had a digital release, and a lot of people have done it. It's the difference is with them is they're doing it on their own digital streaming platform and not doing it through Vudu or not doing it through Fandango or one of the other digital providers. And you know, people are hating on Disney about it, but like I said, they're not the only ones. And honestly, they've done a pretty good job of giving us exclusives to Disney Plus that if they want to charge us for a movie every now and then, as a in-theater experience, as a Simo release, then I don't mind. I mean, we got, this is the Pixar movie. We got Soul for free as a Pixar film.
Yeah, that's fair.
We've got WandaVision, and we've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier for free.
And no, we dropped Disney Plus after the first year that we got it for free.
Honestly, in my humble opinion, as a Disney fan and as a Pixar super fan, I will say that of all the streaming services, I really enjoy Disney Plus the most. That being said, I'm also a big fan of a lot of the old Fox stuff. I'm a big fan of having all the Disney stuff available, or most of the Disney stuff. There's a few films that are not around anymore. You know, and I really appreciate, and it was $7 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And WandaVision was awesome. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was awesome.
See, that's also because we subscribe to two other streaming sites that you don't, Crunchyroll and Funimation. So we opted to go those instead of Disney Plus.
And you know, that's fair. That's fair. Well, I mean, I probably have streaming services that you don't either, just because, you know, Paramount. No, it's not CBS Plus anymore. It's Paramount Plus, which was actually kind of cool because Paramount, I guess, bought CBS, and I guess it was a while ago, but they just merged their streaming services. The price didn't go up, but we like tripled in content. I was like, okay.
So CBS All Access changed, or is that different?
Yeah, CBS All Access is now Paramount Plus.
Oh.
Yeah, and it has all the Paramount stuff included with it. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I was very surprised, and very happy.
I still think like it's all these streaming services, like it's too much. It is too much.
It is. It's just like there's a meme floating around. It's like the guy, a Netflix opened up and the guy's like putting up his pirate hat, like, I don't need you now, old fella. And now it's everybody and their mom is split off into their own streaming site. You know, I remember when it was like Netflix and Hulu, and I was like, this is kind of getting a little sticky. And then all of a sudden it's like HBO Max. And apparently if you have HBO Max, you could watch Mortal Kombat. I guess it's on HBO Max.
That is the one that I do want to get is HBO Max, just because there's a lot more like the documentary stuff, true crime stuff that's on that I want to watch.
But it's absolutely fucking nuts. Just like you said, how many streaming services there are now. You've got Disney Plus, you got Paramount Plus, you've got
Discovery Plus.
Discovery is included with...
No, it's not. Discovery Plus has its own thing.
I thought it was included with something too.
Disney does have some Discovery, but Discovery Plus has like all the Food Network, A&E stuff, and
I remember what it is. I get Disney Plus and Paramount Plus, I get Disney Plus, Hulu, and Discovery Plus as a package deal through my Verizon. That's what it is. What else? You got Hulu, you've got Netflix, you've got HBO Plus, you've got Cinemax.
Too many
Max. It's just like
Stars.
Yeah, everybody and their mom has a streaming service. Yeah, I have several that are free through my phone. If you have Verizon, definitely go check into your settings and the freebies you get, because you'd be surprised what you get for free through Verizon. Especially if you take one of their unlimited plus streaming services, which is $40, and it only takes one of your phones being on it, and you get like 3 premium streaming channels for free, and Apple Music for free as well.
There was one phone that was like including PlayStation Plus, not PlayStation Plus, but the subscription for PlayStation, and with it, I'm like, that is actually almost worth it to change over just for that.
There's actually 2 different gaming phones that are out right now that are like, one of them is by Asus. It's an ROG phone, and it's so beefy, and I'm not even joking, that you can plug in 2 separate Type-C plugs to it at 40 watts apiece to play on it. It's freaking crazy. Just how nuts this phone is. I was like, okay, that's nice. I wish I could say that we're not getting to that point, but we definitely are starting to get to that point where phones are going to be the next consoles. So, speaking of podcasting, we weren't speaking of podcast, whatever. I actually have a portable podcast studio now. I picked up a Zoom recorder, not Zune. I miss my Zoom. But I picked up a Zoom audio recorder, and it actually has a place on the bottom for 2 XLR microphones. So I bought a package of Behringer microphones and XLR. I have mic stands, and it's all in a camera backpack. And it goes with me in whatever car I'm in. So if I find someone who's interesting, I kid you not, sit down and set up a fucking podcast station to talk to them in like 5 minutes. Actually, less than that.
There's some drunkard on the side of the road. He looks interesting.
Well, no, it's there. Okay, so this is what happened. This is what's happened. There's been a few times that I go to a game shop and I'll start talking to the owner or someone there, and it's like, damn, this guy's like super cool. I'd love to sit down with this guy and, talk with him a little bit and, splice it into an episode of the podcast. That has happened on more than one occasion. Or shop owners. If some dude walked up and it's like, hey, I have a somewhat successful podcast and I want to sit down with you, and all you have to do is talk, and you can you can talk about your stores. Actually, I want you to talk about your store. What is it like being a game store owner? It's free fucking advertisement for just sitting down and talking to a customer, and I'm going to buy something because that's just how I am. If it's a box of Marines or whatever. And several of the game shop owners that I've talked to, and these are people that I do know, so it's not like strangers, but the ones I've talked to are like, yeah, one of these days we'll sit down and we'll talk, so.
Seriously though, how many people still remember us?
With as many people who have messaged me asking where the fuck we're at, more than you, yeah. There's no forgetting us, Yeji.
Oh.
Maybe people were relieved we were gone, but I don't think so. Actually, of all the times that we could have had like mental breakdowns and life hit us in the fucking gonads, was the time that people needed us the most.
Yeah. But then life hit all of us in the gonads, so,
Life hit us hard. Like, it wasn't just, hey, we got, the COVID shit's coming in. Because if it was just that, hell, we were all furloughed for a few months there. We could have been recording our asses off. But when that shit happened, it was
my
like...
job's quote unquote essential worker. So everyone's like, I want to go back to work. I'm like, I want my vacation.
Well, we were considered essential. We're considered essential as well. But, when all the car factories and everything shut down, and that's what you haul, yeah, you're not that essential. And we're actually a little worried now, too, because there's some, all the problems that you're seeing in the computer industry with, the microchips and processors and all that stuff, that's hitting the automotive industry, too. Cars have computers in them. They're not able to get the stuff for the computers for the cars either. So,
yeah, car prices are freaking insane out here.
Well, it's not that. They're just not able to, okay, so I heard that Ford is building their cars right now without computers in them, and they're parking them on a lot waiting for computers to come in, and they're going to add them after the fact, or as they come in. That's what it's getting to. That's what I mean by there's problems. It's not that the prices of cars are going up. It's the fact that...
No, but I'm saying because the supply and demand and stuff, car prices here are crazy.
Well, anything electronic is crazy. Go look at... Go try to build a computer right now. I built a computer, 2 years ago? Year and a half ago for $1,100. And that was everything. And that was with a RTX 2060. Not top of the end, but at the same time, not a shitty graphics card. To build that exact same computer right now would almost be $2,000. The graphics card that I paid $300 or $350 for a year and a half ago is currently sitting on the market for $900. And it's last year's graphics card. It's a 20 series. 30 series, can't find them anywhere. Nobody has them. Even people like iBuyPower and stuff like that, they're having problems getting graphics cards.
Well, graphics card wise, it's also because people are building the mining machines.
Mining is part of it, and it's actually kind of a small part.
And so many people have started to stream.
That's the different one.
Well, but no, there's just a massive shortage of silicone. That's the main thing, is that yes, more people are streaming because COVID. Yes, data miners are starting to launch back up again, but a good portion of it is also there's no supply. The demand is absolutely huge, and there's no supply. Even back whenever Bitcoin was going big, graphics cards never got that big. You weren't looking at 2-generation old graphics cards jumping up to 3 times their MSRP like you are now. I mean, I can understand why there's no 3080s or 3070s, but the fact that a 2060 is $900, my RTX 2060 is the same price as what a 3080 should cost. And that's fucking insane. That is absolutely insane. And it's a problem across the entire industry. Anybody that has computers, hell, Samsung was talking about not putting out a Note 21 because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get enough silicone to do it. They actually announced that they eventually announced that they weren't going to. They were going to go ahead and push out the Note 21, but it's probably going to be on a limited release. It's not going to be as big a release as the S21 was, because the S21 came pre-shortage. And if it keeps up the way it is, we might not be seeing new phones. Because, something has to happen. I've heard it was a fire, like a major silicone plant burned down, major microchip plant burned down. But so it's crazy. So my industry, we might end up shutting down again, and it has nothing to do with COVID this time. We might end up shutting down because we just can't get parts, or they have they can't build it. They don't have any room to build any new cars. So your cat's talking to you, Yeji.
Not my cat.
Your roommate's cat is talking to you.
Yeah, he goes around and yells. I think he's not getting attention right now.
He's like, I know you eat my people, but pet me.
No, we go for the canines, not the felines.
No, I was joking, not literal, but okay.
But literally too.
Oh, Lord.
I've actually never had it, so I don't know.
I'm pretty adventurous when it comes to foods and stuff, but I just can't.
Unless we get to apocalyptic levels, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, and even then, I would have a hard time. No, I'm not lying. I'd have a real
I
hard
don't know.
time.
I'm pretty cold-hearted when it comes to like either my survival or my pets. Like I'll go for mine.
I'd like to say that I know enough about survival that I could survive off the land at least a little bit. But maybe not. I don't know. Oh, so Miss Queen of Kickstarters, have you seen any recently that just make you go, ooh?
Marvel Chibis.
Yes, those are most definitely eye-catching. I did see those. Oh, not beyond Marvel chibis, they're X-Men chibis. That just adds a little bit of a wowness factor to them.
And then also, I've been seeing stuff from my Kickstarter, so that's been good. I have not gotten into Kickstarter as of this year.
I seriously contemplated buying into Cool Mini or Not's Marvel United X-Men expansion, but then I found out, you informed me that it was in fact an expansion, and I was like, that kind of made me go, oh. And I went and looked at the old one, and the same problem that I have with that one is with this one, and it kind of goes along with Cool Mini in general.
All exclusives.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Too many exclusives, because I seriously was like, okay, cool, I'll buy the original one, and then I'll get the Marvel one. Well, the problem is to get the original one, either I have to pay $500 on eBay for the Ultimate Edition to get all of the exclusive stuff for a $200 package. I can order the $200 package through the new Kickstarter, but it's still missing Fury and like one or two other things. So I wouldn't get Nick Fury, or I just don't get any of the original stuff. And I'm talking like, and it's the same problem that I had with Night Models whenever they produce stuff, is they make characters that should not be exclusive. They make them exclusive. And it's like, really? I mean, give us alternative sculpts that are exclusive to your project. That's cool. That's fine. But don't make characters that are mainstays. Okay, so like the Blob. The Blob is a Kickstarter exclusive. Pyro. No, actually the entirety of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutant. Let's see. What other weird stuff that should not be Kickstarter exclusive? And I'm not even looking at everything. I'm legitimately looking at just big models. Havoc, Kickstarter exclusive. Weapon X, Kickstarter exclusive. Captain Britain, Kickstarter exclusive. Legion, Emma Frost, Kickstarter exclusive. Lady Deathstrike, Kickstarter exclusive. Silver Samurai, Kickstarter exclusive. Omega Red, Kickstarter exclusive. And that's not all of them. Like, if I add up all the stretch goals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 26, 28, 30, 31. 31 miniatures from the stretch goals that are Kickstarter exclusive. 31. I only named the big named characters. There's tons like Arcade, Sauron. And there's even more. Cable, Shadowstar, Cannonball, Domino, Strife. Those are all big name characters within that series. Okay, like this one I don't mind. It's Storm with a mohawk. She's a Kickstarter exclusive, but you can still get Storm without the mohawk, and it's normal, and it's not a Kickstarter exclusive. So I don't know. I just really, really, really don't like how. Okay, maybe they changed it. No, I'm looking.
But speaking of which, if anybody has that game that they want me to paint up, let me know.
You know, honestly, I really do want to, but I don't want to dump $400 into a game that, and I don't like how they do stuff. Stop with all the fucking exclusives. Most of us are just happy to get it as an extra, a little bit early. Though I might do $1 just so I can get the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, because the 4 Horsemen in Chibi version, especially Death, which is Archangel, look fucking awesome.
And then there's the Monster Hunter board game.
I did hear about that. Is that Cool Mini doing that one too?
No, Steamforged.
Is it? I was actually talking with Krys about this right before you signed in. I'm actually in the process of playing the Monster Hunter Rise game.
Yep. and Xavier picked it up, and so I tried it out yesterday.
Larry and Xavier also picked it up. Maybe we should exchange numbers.
Okay.
Okay, so
Clint's just playing on mine. So as long as you have mine from Animal Crossing.
I don't play Animal Crossing.
Oh.
It's the same reason I haven't bought Animal Crossing is the same reason I haven't bought Stardew Valley yet, because both of them are hyper addictive games, and either one I'll hate them or I'll put like 900 hours into them. And from what I've heard, it's probably going to be the 900 hours. So I purposely stay away from games that I know are going to draw me in too bad. Because there's like a lot of MMOs that I look at and I'm like, oh, that looks so fun. But I remember what I'm like with MMOs. So I just kind of...
Oh, speaking of which, I got into Final Fantasy 14 there for a little bit. And then now I'm into Genshin Impact.
You're into what?
Genshin Impact?
Imagine Zelda Breath of the Wild and...
with anime waifus.
Yes.
Ah, holy crap. Oh, wow. It only has 5 days to go. How did I miss this coming out?
Monster Hunter?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I didn't think it was out yet, though. Like, I'd heard little buzzes about it, but I didn't think it was actually out. Apparently, it's out. Holy shit. Ooh, okay. Yeah, those models look fucking awesome. Let's see, $70. You get 4 XL monsters, 4 hunters, 600 cards.
Oh my god. I played too much of that game. I can tell you what the set is they're wearing.
Ancient forest monsters.
Yeah, it's your
Great Jaggeros, Toby, Kadechi, Jananath, and Rathalos.
Yes. It's the main 4 you find in Ancient Forest. But it looks like they also have other ones. Okay. But sadly, do they have Coral Highlands or not?
Okay, all in is $289. You get the core pledge plus the Elder Dragon Kushula Dora, the Elder Dragon whatever, the KSE Kickstarter exclusive. Yeah, Elder Dragon, Teostra, Hunter's Arsenal, and all the daily unlocks. Holy shit! I don't know what dragon that is, but
what does it look like?
Semi-traditional with chest plates, kind of. It has a long neck with large wings, and it looks semi-bipedal.
That's probably Teo.
It's huge, meaning like the...
Are you the one talking about that's rearing on its back?
Yeah.
That's Kashala. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, that thing looks wicked.
120mm base with a 255mm height.
I wonder how much
huge.
The pledge, how, like, if the box is, how many Yejis tall it's going to be.
It's going to be a lot, because that thing's huge.
You know, surprisingly...
No, that happened because JT sent me his Bloodborne box, Kickstarters.
Oh.
And
I saw that, and I was
stood
like,
next
holy
to
shit.
it and took a photo, yeah. And it was a little more than half a Yeji's tall.
That was a lot. So, all in is $300. That's the daily stuff. See, okay, they did this. This right here is how you do it. If you have to have exclusives, do like 1 or 2. They have the Kula Yaku as an exclusive. They have 1 dragon, the Tio, as an exclusive.
Toaster Kitty.
And then they have 1 or 2 models that are unlocked with the great sword and the bow. And those are Kickstarter exclusive. And that's it. Out of the entire campaign, that's all that's Kickstarter exclusive. And just like when they did the Dungeons and Doggos and Cats and Catacombs and all of that, they have 1 model that's Kickstarter exclusive in each of those. Same with the Gullet Cove.
Sadly, they don't have my favorite monster in there.
Yet. One thing I will say about Steamforge is they do tend to continue their games. Certain companies have a tendency of doing
everything 1
big release and not touch the game again. And if they do, it's not for a long, long time. It's a very prolific, yeah. So Like honestly, I think the only reason that Marvel United got an expansion is because it's Marvel, and that right there just sells games. But there's been several games that they've released and no expansions have come out. All right, let's see. What is shipping looking like? USA mainland 18 to 26. That's it. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna back the project.
I kind of want to back it.
Yeji strikes again.
Well, no, I'm going to. I want to. Let's see. The Ancient Foreign, the Core Pledge. What? Okay, so what I want to do is unlock it where I can get to the. Yeah, that thing. The Pledge Manager. But the problem is they have a pledge with no reward. I don't want that. I want. Damn. Because I kind of want that. And it's Monster Hunter World, Chris.
I know, that's what I'm fighting, but I was wondering how it plays is the thing.
Steam Forge has a track record of making pretty damn good games. You could probably find the rules, actually. They usually are not shy about releasing the rules.
Did you just pledge?
Me? No, not yet.
Oh, I just saw the money go up. That's why I was asking.
Well, it's got $3 million already. Like I said, I don't know exactly how I missed this. Yeah, if you go down to the very bottom and look, it actually says it gives you a run through, and there's also a link on how hunters work and all that stuff. It actually tells you. So if you actually before you pledge want to learn how to look at it, there's like gameplay articles that explains how your hunters work, how you track monsters, the behaviors. Oh, they got the rule book. Yeah, you can download the rule book. It's down towards the bottom. Well, I'm not even 110% sure I'm down towards the bottom, to tell you the truth. This is one long-ass Kickstarter. But it's towards the bottom.
It's almost like, looks like you build your character as you do it.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, the more you play it, the better your character is, and such, which is Monster Hunter.
You know, I'm really surprised the Marvel United game actually stalled out. It made like 1.2 or 1.3 million in its first day. And then has stopped at 2.6 mil. I was actually expecting it to possibly break records, but apparently no.
Guys, if I back this, I just know I'm gonna. If I back, I want the whole thing.
Yeah, that's usually how it is. Here's the question. Well, I already know the answer to this. You love Monster Hunter Worlds. You've already said that you played a ton of it. Would spending the $289 hurt you right now?
No. I might get some disappointed looks from people.
It'll take a while for it to come in, so they won't know the disappointment that you breed until then.
That many boxes. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. But look at those minis. They're super cool.
Oh, they're pretty. Yep.
They're very pretty. Very
pretty. You get a pallet coat? Shut up.
You're already to the point that you know you're going to.
I'm on the very edge.
You know you're going to. I don't know why you're fighting.
This might be my tax return.
You're totally going to fucking regret.
I would regret this.
You're going to regret it either way. If you don't get it, you're going to regret not getting it because the models are cool. But if you do get it, you're going to regret it because...
I got it.
Right. So it's one of those things, you know. You have to ask yourself, what are you going to regret more? Not getting it or getting it?
The thing is, I don't have anyone to play with right now.
Yeah, eventually things will open up. Teach your mom.
Actually, she's funny enough, she's wanting to play game night.
Hey, there you go.
I also know some people up in Seattle, so.
Oh, I'm in north of Seattle. I'm 2 hours north of Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah, he's even. The sad thing is, he's even on the wrong side of the sound for anybody I know. All my friends live in the Upper Peninsula.
I'm like 45 minutes from Canada.
Yeah, he's way up. He's way up there.
Oh, I gotta find something to eat.
Damn you, Yeji. That's what I had to say.
Yeah, that's why I said Yeji strikes again, because I'm such a great enabler.
Oh, I'm probably gonna end up backing it too, because that main dragon. I need to go talk to Xavier and see if that'd be something, because he loves Monster Hunter. It's part of the. Okay, I have meant to ask you this like 3 times. If Xavier's living with you, what about Mika?
We get her for the summer.
So she's still only summer.
Yep.
And so does Xavier?
He goes back for the summer, yes.
So y'all flip. Okay. I kind of get that. At the same token, it's kind of like, huh.
Yeah, honestly, it's a little messed up. I mean, it's a lot messed up, but there's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, you're just the evil stepmom. Sarcasm. That is sarcasm. Jesus.
I mean,
a little sarcasm flag.
She calls me that girl, apparently, so,
Hey, at least you're that girl. Could be worse.
It doesn't cost anything to ship. Okay.
It does. It's like 26 pounds, so it's gonna be like $40 for shipping.
It says shipping destination United States 0.
It'll add later.
Oh, okay.
What's the pledge manager? But you don't have to pay it until later either.
But then that means I gotta remember to keep that much in my account.
For 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Until the pledge manager opens, it depends on.
Well, no, it's 5. No, what happens? It's 5 days. So if he puts the $289 in 5 days, it'll come out. And what happens is when the pledge manager opens, you have $289 in credit that you get to spend on the pledge manager. Which means if you change your mind, you can actually order, like, say, 3 of the basic box editions. But if you don't change your mind, then you just apply it towards the all-in. And see, that's what a lot of people will do is they'll put, like, a basic pledge, say $10, and so they get access to the pledge manager. Oh, when you have access to the pledge manager, you can actually go in and pick out everything else that you want that you didn't get originally with your base pledge and then add it to the total, and then you just pay the difference. So what I did one time was there was a pledge manager that was open for a long time, so every so often I would go in and I would add like 1 or 2 models to it, and then I'd pay for it right then and there, and then wait. It was one of the Reapers, actually, and then I'd wait like a couple months, and then I'd be like, oh, because that particular one was open forever, and then I'd go add a couple miniatures that I wanted, then I'd pay for them right then and there. And I kept doing that until they finally closed the pledge manager, and then I got this weird smorgasbord of freaking miniatures in. But that's one way to do it. So you can, that is actually one option. You can only buy the base edition right now, and then when the pledge manager opens up, you can go back in and spend more.
I did it.
See, here's the thing, and I'm just going to say this, is if you don't get it and you want to get it later, it's going to cost you double what
Even
you just
more.
spent.
Yeah.
But just like the Marvel United, the $200 bundle for Marvel United, I can't find it for under $450.
Also, like, I wanted to get the Speed Freaks game.
Whereas if you decide that you don't want the Monster Hunter after you get it, you should be able to sell it for at least what you paid for it, if not just a little bit more.
See, I was hoping they had a Legiana in there, but they don't.
More than likely, you're going to end up seeing it as an expansion. Like I said, Steam Forge is pretty good about expanding on their games. They're not like other companies that have a tendency of a one and done. And that the fact that a major monster is missing is a prime example of that they are actually planning for expansions. Because if they weren't planning for expansions, then you would see that one. So
yeah, about next Friday they'll charge it.
Yay. Guess who's back? Back again. Your wallet's back.
Yep.
Anywho. I started
spend money today.
Hunt for some food.
I actually have to take my son to work in less than 8 hours. So I think this is a good time to wrap things up. Anybody else?
Yes, I'm good. Good one. Get first time back.
Right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Models Workshop After Hours. We have a lot of great things planned, so stick around. Make sure to smash that subscribe button wherever you're at and listening to your favorite podcasts. You can find us over on Facebook at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. And we do have a painting group, which has surprisingly been blowing up the last week. We've got over 1,000 members, but in the last week, I think we've added like 40 more. It was just like every day I'm logging in, 5 people have requested. What the hell? Awesome. But come join us on our painting group. If you want to find me over on like the TikTok, you can find me at Models Workshop, where I'm doing little short videos about Slim Jims and different painting topics and everything. You can find me at NWH Podcast on Twitter and on Instagram. Where can they find you, Yeji?
You guys can find me on Snickerneck Studios, SNICKERNECK Studios on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and Snickerneck_studios on Twitch.
Where she streams. She's an extreme streamer, man.
I also teach classes, online classes, whether it's one-on-ones or small groups. So hit me up, guys.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot, you can find us over on YouTube, and that's at Models Workshop as well. So any place they want to find you, Minnow, or are you just kind of...
I hide.
I'm
hidden.
He's the big horny bastard. He hides.
I hide.
All right, so thank you guys. We'll be recording in a couple weeks, so if you have anything you want us to talk about or a topic you'd like us to breach, just go ahead and reach out to us and give us a message. But, yep, we're back, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.